Well, good evening, y'all, and welcome back to Apron Strings. This is the day we do a recipe for one or two. And sometimes there might be a snitch left over because that one or two might not be as hungry as last time. So today I'm going to do just a very simple little lasagna roll-up recipe, and it's not full of all of the fattening cheeses and stuff that lasagna usually has in it, but it's very tasty. And it's just a little different presentation. So it actually, I think we're going to make either 4 or 6 rolls. So if I'm real hungry, I could probably eat a couple of them and maybe part of that third one. So it might be for 2 people. But anyhow, y'all get on over to the butcher block and I'll talk to you about what we're going to do and show you what we're using and get it going. Okay, the first thing we need to do is chop up about 1/2 of a medium onion. So I'm going to get that done, and I'm going to just sweat it down in the skillet a little bit. Wouldn't take me long to sweat if I got poked in a hot skillet, so it shouldn't take it long. I mean, it makes me break out in sweat thinking about it. I'm just chopping. I'm not professional. Y'all know that. I'm just giving it I don't want it in big old chunks, but it doesn't have to be minced either. But if y'all ever gonna remake me from a big old chunk to a small, make me pretty small, because I never have got to be pretty small. So I'm remaking this big old onion into little pieces. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my skillet over here, but I'm not gonna start anything yet. And I've got a green bell pepper, and this is a big old bell pepper. I got a lot for my money that time. And I'm just gonna cut me off a couple of little pieces of it. Y'all know sometimes it's exact measurements and sometimes it's just watch what I do and kind of copy it. And if you don't like bell pepper, that's fine. You don't have to put it in there. But if I'm cooking something with ground meat, I'm usually going to put some bell pepper in it. A couple of more things I'm going to put too. I wonder who could figure that out. Some kind of powders maybe. See, we could be having a contest if y'all was right here with me for real. And I'd have trouble figuring out who answered first, because y'all all know how much I use onion and garlic powder. Now that's not on this original recipe, but I add it to mine. Okay, I would say this is probably maybe a 1/3 of a cup of bell pepper. And I'm just going to drop it in here with the onion. And my hamburger meat is frozen, so I'm going to have to cook it here in a minute. But I want to get this started first. I'm putting about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there because my ground beef is very lean and it doesn't have enough fat in it to do any good to something else. So I'm going to give this a stir. And just let that go for just a stitch. Get this spoon out of the way. And you're going to need about 1 pound, 3/4 maybe of a pound of ground beef. And I've been weighing mine out in 1 pound or 1/2 pound packages. But I didn't weigh this one and it's frozen, so I know it's at least 1 pound. So I'm just going to see how much it takes. But probably, let me see what my recipe called for. It called for 1 pound. So because you want them real meaty, that's going to be the main thing that fills you up is the meat that's in the noodles. Because this recipe is just onion and bell pepper and your ground beef, homemade or bought spaghetti sauce, and then you put some of that on your noodle and some mozzarella cheese and roll it up. It's going to be easy and fast, but y'all, it's delicious. So the recipe calls for fennel seed. I am not a big fan of fennel seed. I'm going to add a little bit of my freeze-dried that I grew, and I freeze-dried basil to it, just to give it a little extra flavor. So let me get my onions and peppers sweated a little bit, and then I'm going to put my ground beef in, and I'll bring y'all back when I get the beef brown and it's no longer pink, it's done. and when I'm ready to add my spaghetti sauce to it. So tell y'all something else. Y'all know in the last video, I think it was, I mentioned these allergies, and I mentioned that little saying that Daddy used to say about sty, leave my eye, hop on the first one passing by. Well, some must have heard me say that, because guess what? I've got a sty, I guess that's what it is, on this eyelid over here, right at the corner. And that booger's sore and hurts, so don't be passing me, because I might be using that little saying again and see if I can get rid of that thing. I thought, well, isn't that amusing that I just got through blabbing my mouth about that and now one hopped on me. If y'all have one of these pariah lids, you know, this hooks under your lid on your canned goods and pops the lid up without ruining it. Well, you can also put it under the edge of one of these kind of lids. Just put this little middle part right under the edge of that and barely, hear that? It breaks the seal and you can open it without all of that hard work. So I got my pry lid off of eBay. They're a little bit pricey, but let me tell you what, they're worth every penny of it. So I'm just putting the plug in for an old-fashioned vintage kitchen gadget that I love. Okay, here you are up pretty close. See, I've got my meat browned, and I know that this meat is a little over a pound, so y'all need to just kind of weigh yours out if you don't want to have some extra meat just cooking for one or two. Now, if I were not going to put the spaghetti sauce, or even putting the spaghetti sauce in this, I like meat like this on a piece of toasted bread for a lunch, just an open face, you know, eat it with a fork. So I will definitely use this. Now I'm going to cut the camera off just a minute. I'm going to try to blot some of this grease out of here. Really not much in there. I only put a little bit of olive oil. But there was a little bit cooked out. I'll get me a paper towel and blot that up. See, this is the best way to do it. Is put your meat to one side and tilt your pan. And you can get it all over there. Either dip it with a spoon or blot it up with paper towels. That's a little much for paper towels. I'm not wasting that many paper towels. I'm going to go get me a spoon and dip that out. I'll be right back. Okay, my June oven's hot. I just heard it doing its song. Okay, I'm going to add my spaghetti sauce. And this is a 14-ounce jar. And this is just Ragu Simply. Doesn't have a lot of, I don't think it has any sugar in it. It doesn't have any oil in it. It's a pretty healthy spaghetti sauce, actually. So we're just making kind of a basic meat sauce here. Now, whoever wrote the original recipe must be kind of bland. Have you ever seen people that you thought was a little bland? Well, I don't know what they'd be like one-on-one, but their recipe's a little bland. They didn't put any goody in it. So let me see if I need a little something that'll go down in this jar and scrape it out. I don't want to waste any of that. And I don't want to rinse it out with water. Anyhow, they didn't put any garlic in here. They didn't add any garlic or onion powder. So I'm going to doctor this up a little bit. So y'all need to listen up, see what we're doing to it. Because I can tell you, I don't want it just with spaghetti sauce in it. I'm going to put it down to low and just so it'll simmer. While my water comes to a boil, I'm doing it back here for the noodles. Lasagna. Okay, I'm going to add onion and garlic. And this is granulated garlic with some parsley in it. And I'm going to put about a tablespoon of that in there because I like garlic. And I'm going to put 2 or 3 tablespoons of onion powders, probably 2. There's 1. Told y'all that one day my granddaughter said, Nana, and I'm going to put 3. She said, Nana, how do you know that that's what that is? I said, get the measuring spoon. Well, we got it, and it was spot on. When you've done this for as many years as I have, you can eyeball it. Just like sewing, I can eyeball 1 inch, a 1/2 inch, 3 inches. I can put, I mean, it just comes natural after you've done it for so long. So anyhow, I'm doctoring this up a little bit. And of course the spaghetti sauce has some salt in it, but I'm going to taste it. I may need to add some more, but I know I need to use this little wonderful ratchet pepper grinder here. I had one of y'all comment today that you had ordered 2 of them. Man, I've sold a bunch of these for somebody. Sometimes you can get them at Sur La Table. It looks like surlatable.com. SURLATABLE. If they don't have them in stock, because they do sell out, you can get them at QVC, or you could. So I think they're about $19.99 a piece, but sure does help your hands, especially if you have arthritis. I don't have arthritis all the time, but every now and then it wants to come visit, and it sure messes up the routine when it does. I'm going to taste of this. See my little baby spoon? Food usually shuts people up, don't it? I think that's pretty good. Now, some spaghetti sauces are a little sweeter than others, and Troy really doesn't like sweet like that on savory stuff. I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of my basil that I grew and cleaned and freeze dried and vacuum sealed. And sometimes your tomatoes are just sweeter than other times. Sometimes he'll say, did you put sugar in that? No, that was the onion or the tomatoes that got sweeter. Now, of course, if you caramelize onions, they get a whole lot sweeter, but I didn't caramelize those. I just sweated them down till they got translucent. My water's just about to boil back there to put the lasagna noodles in to get soft, and then we'll be ready to roll this up and get it over there in the oven and let the cheese melt. Now my water's boiling, and I want to show y'all something. The easiest way that I have found to do my lasagna noodles is when you put them in, if your pot is a little bit, if they're going to be a little longer than the pot, put them in, and when they start bending in the heat of the water, then you can drop them in. That way you know that they're not going to break, because you don't want broken lasagna noodles, because I'll eat it today or tomorrow. Okay, let's let those get soft. I think they need to cook about 12 to 14 minutes. Alright, I'll set my timer for 12 minutes and then we'll check it from there. Now I'm going to add some salt to my noodles, because the only way you're going to get flavor in those noodles is while you're boiling them. All they are is a vehicle to put the sauce on after you get them boiled, but you can use a little bit of flavor in them. So I don't want them sticking together. I'm just going to let them cook, and then we'll roll those little suckers up when they get cool enough that I can handle them. I'm going to give y'all another little tip of something that I do. If I'm cooking something that has like a jar to throw away, I just put that grease that I drained out of my beef in this jar, so I can just put the lid on it and throw it away without my garbage being a greasy, nasty mess in there. So always think about what you're going to need to throw away, and you can put it in your jar and get rid of it. I save mayonnaise jars and peanut butter jars, wash them out, and I've got them in the cabinet for when I have messy scraps to throw away. I'm going to get the noodles over to the sink and drain them. And I'll probably have to let them cool just a jiffy. But I just want y'all to know what was going on. And when they cool enough that I can handle them, we'll be back at the butcher block making us some roll-ups. And this is not something I'm a pro at. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my meat, because I want a little bit of meat down the whole roll-up. and sprinkle me some cheese on it. The glue of Italian food, and Mexican food really too. So let's see if I can roll this up now. See, leave you a place that don't have anything on it for starters. And then you just want to roll it up and put it in your pan seam side down. Okay? So I'm going to do another one here. And with the roll like this, you're going to have your layers because your pasta is going to be in between the meat, you know, as it goes down. And I'm just putting mozzarella so it'll be gooey and cheesy like it's supposed to be. Got me a starting point here. This roll, but don't squash it. Just barely roll it because you're going to squash all your goodness out if you do. Then I'm going to put this one in, seam side down. Let's get this one done. And I really think I put more meat in here than it called for, so I'm probably going to have more than 4. The recipe said 6. We'll see. I ever have sloppy joes? We never had sloppy joes at home, but we used to have what they'd call fellowship meetings and youth rallies at church. And if you had some spending money after church, well, the youth department would serve refreshments, sell refreshments, to make money for this, that, and the other. And a lot of them would do sloppy joes. Well, we never had sloppy joes at home. So I was just tickled to death to get me some sloppy joes when we went to a youth rally or a fellowship meeting. Now I was raised, still I am, Pentecostal. And the youth rallies were on Friday nights. Y'all remember that? Any of y'all that was raised like I was? And the fellowship meetings were always on a Monday night. The rallies were geared more toward the young people. I just pulled its trim off. You know that zigzag that you put on aprons and stuff to make them pretty? Well, it just came right off, so I'm just going to pull it off and then I'll put it on the top or something. Anyhow, that was my first encounter with sloppy joes, was at the fellowship meetings and the youth rallies. And they never charged a whole lot because nobody had much money back then. Or if they didn't have that, they'd have sandwiches, and different ladies in the church would make a tray of sandwiches. And it was just, that was the good old days, y'all. Simple life. Roll them up, mark them with a B, and put them in the pan. I'm going to turn them sideways, up against each other, kind of, sort of. I thought I wasn't hungry, but the more I make these, the hungrier I'm getting. I had a tuna fish sandwich for lunch, but I thought, well, I probably won't eat anything else today. But guess what? I lied to myself. I'm going to have one of these. Y'all ever do that? I'm just going to break this up and put it in there because it's going to be among the extra meat that I'm going to put in there. Now here's what I'm going to do. Y'all can do it how you want to. I'm just going to put me a little dollop of this on the top of each one. By the time you fish each one out, you put it on your plate, you sprinkle it with some green onions maybe and some more cheese. It's going to look like you just worked your little self to death, when really you didn't. The good thing about this is, like this extra, if you didn't want to do this, if you just put it in something and freeze it, look how quick and easy you can make another batch of these for 1 or 2. That would be just awesome. I'm just going to go ahead and use it all, though. Y'all won't have this much if you do a straight pound. I know I must have had about 1.5 pounds of meat, because I had more than, I think I had more than 1 pound. So I'm going to put some more of this mozzarella on the top. Let it melt good. There's not much left in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it all. Now when a recipe calls for an amount of cheese, You know, I never put that little of an amount. I always put some extra. That's could be why some of the extra hangs around. What do y'all think? Don't give me an answer. I don't need to comment on that. Okay, the June oven is heated to 350. And I'm going to put this in there probably for about 20 minutes till this all melts and gets gooey. And it may take longer, but I'll tell y'all when I get through how long I had it in there. And then I'll show y'all how pretty and good it is. The lasagna is out of the oven. Look how that cheese melted. I'm going to let it cool just a little bit to where I can get one of the rolls out and plate it up and show y'all what it looks like. Okay, y'all, I've got it plated up. It lifts right out of the pan so well. Let me go over there and show you the pan. See? I got one right out and there's another one right beside it waiting for the next plate. So it does come out in single rolls to make the serving, the presentation pretty. It's not all torn up. Now's the best time of all because I get to taste of it. Got my tea here in case I need some tea. Ooh, this is a wonderful second present today. You know, I already got one present. The good Lord gave me a gift. He gave me today, the present. And I've been enjoying it. Just enjoy it a little bit more. Yeah, drop it, Gay. For the trouble that it was to make it, which was zero, that's a very tasty lasagna. So if y'all never made lasagna, why don't you start out with making these lasagna rolls, kind of get the hang of putting it all together. You know, traditional lasagna, you layer your noodles like shingles on a house and put your cheese mixes and your meat mixture and all on it. Then you turn your shingles going the other way. That way when you cut into it, they don't all slide one direction and you lose your noodles and just come out with a blob of meat and cheese. But this is much easier than making it that way. So very good. Now you could look up some lasagna recipes and mix up the cheese mixture like they use on traditional lasagna and put it on here and still roll it up the same way. I think I need some tea, y'all. Boy, that cured it all. I've had a good day today. I hadn't done a whole lot of anything productive. I did run to town. Had to get some trailer tags at the county annex for Troy's dump trailer. And well, I mailed a few aprons today. So I've got 3 more to make and I'll be caught up. So if any of y'all are wanting an apron, I have 3 videos, 2 pretty recent ones with apron fabric that you can choose from. I'm going to be doing a new video before too long showing some fabrics. I have some aprons made up ready to go. I'm going to do a video and show you those, but y'all remember Mother's Day's coming, and my aprons are a wonderful gift for your mother, your sister, your friend, a new bride. They're made to last. You can pass them down to the next generation if you just launder them right. So they're fully lined. Everything's top stitched where the 2 layers don't flop everywhere when you wash them. Got a lot of good positive listen, I've had people that have bought 6 and 7 aprons from me. So that tells you that they're made well and they like them. So anyway, if you're thinking about an apron order, I'm just about caught up and I'm ready to sew some more. So give me an email and tell me what fabric you want, what your payment method's going to be, PayPal, check, or money order, and which fabric you wanted and which style. This is what I call the regular style, and then I have the chef style with the adjustable ties in it, and that's in the very first video I show you that. And when I make another video, I'm going to start showing it every time because I forget there's new people that don't know what the 2 different styles are. But anyway, that's enough of my commercial for right now. I'm fixing to finish eating this lasagna and go in there and sit down and prop my feet up for a little while. The good Lord bless and keep y'all, and I'll see y'all again on Saturday.